It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. I'm going to do something kind of uncharacteristic and react to a reaction video. This is kind of a meta thing to do. Tony Jefferies, perhaps one of the most diplomatic people in the combat sports community on YouTube, who never says anything mean or disrespectful about anybody, recently reacted to a Steven Seagal demo. And his reaction was incredible. Let's take a look.
Now, I don't want to disrespect a full martial arts, but what the is this? Steven Seagal is getting men running up, attacking him, and he's just touching them and they're falling over. Am I missing something here?
I gotta pause it right there for just a second. Yeah. This is the second greatest reaction to an Aikido demo I've ever seen. The greatest reaction to an Aikido demo was when I showed my 11-year-old daughter an Aikido demo for the very first time. And her exact words were, "Daddy, are they stupid?" We continue.
Well, what I would do to Steven Seagal, if I was in this situation, I would Phoenix up the body and one big overhand right. And I tell you what, I'm not getting through to the ground like that. Now, I don't want to disrespect a full martial arts, because I'm sure there might be some benefits to it. Now, please let me know below, is this just some demo of some BS stuff that they do, or is this like supposed to be real and serious? Because I don't know, and I don't mean to disrespect.
Okay. He brings a full circle and tries to come back to his normal characteristic. I'm trying to respect everybody. Persona that Tony's so well known for. Now, this is awesome for a couple of reasons, because again, Tony, his whole life, as far as I'm aware, he's been focused on boxing, on that one very singular thing, chasing Olympic glory, representing his country on his national team, his professional boxing career, excelling at boxing, teaching boxing, promoting boxing, etc., etc. And he's done a phenomenal job with that. And yeah, I love this guy. I love the fact that his channel has blown up on YouTube in the last couple of years. It's great. Man, we went from a point where the martial pretenders were getting most of the attention on the internet to a point where a legitimate dude like Tony can actually get a substantial audience on YouTube. That's awesome. And no, you're not being disrespectful, Mr. Jeffries. Not at all. You were asking a legitimate question. What the heck is going on here with this demo? Oh, man. Aikido demos are a funny situation. Really, any martial arts demo is kind of a funny thing, because essentially a demo is not the real thing, but we're kind of pretending to show the real thing while not doing the real thing. So how does that even work? I did a lot of martial arts demos back in the day for Taekwondo and karate and so on, capoeira, and a lot of it involved breaking stuff, because, well, if you're not putting on a real fight with a real person, at least show that you can hit really hard and break some stuff, because that impresses people. Okay, I get that. I've done that. I've participated in that. But as far as what Mr. Seagal is doing here, maybe let's take a look at some of the individual techniques here. So Seagal walks out, and this is okay, looks like this one guy walks up with open arms, and Seagal clotheslines him. Now, if you get in that particular position and you can clothesline the dude, sure, you can take him down. But who just runs up to you like this, like, here I come, here I come? It's probably happened at some point in the history of the world, but that kind of seems like the rare exception and not the norm in an actual hand-to-hand conflict. Let's see, the second guy. The second guy went right into the forward roll, didn't even wait for contact with Mr. Seagal. He was just like, all right, on cue, dive roll. Boom. All right, dude who got clotheslined is now standing up, and he runs in again with open arms, and Seagal swats him out of the way. He does a sideways lateral roll. The Second guy gets up again, starts rolling before Seagal makes contact with him. The next guy gets up again, Seagal does a wrist lock, and the guy does a lateral flip. Now, Aikido guys practice these flips, of course, presumably to take pressure off of the wrist, and also it looks cool. If you're stuck in a wrist lock, or stuck in a shoulder lock, you can take the pressure off of that by rolling in the direction in which the force is being applied, as long as you're not pinned to the mat. So if you're in a standing position, you're not pinned, so you can roll out of it. Now, these dramatic flippy rolls, is it necessary? It certainly looks cool, and it draws a crowd. But it does serve a functional purpose. Now, in that particular part of the demo, he did have a legitimate wrist lock. Now, was it orchestrated? Was it choreographed? It certainly looks that way. 100%. Is that how it would play out in a real fight? Probably not. But is kotegaeshi a real technique that can really be done? Sure, yeah. All right, the next guy runs up again and eats another clothesline to the face. He runs up like, here I come. I want to give you a big warm hug, Steven Seagal. No. Okay. So yeah, it's a demo. It's an Aikido demo. It's not the worst Aikido demo I've ever seen where there was a lot of going through the motions, but some of them get even worse. There are much worse offenders in the Aikido world where instead of making any physical contact at all, they simply wave their arms and, like, I'm kind of miming, like marking time with a kotegaeshi, for example, and instead of actually touching your wrist, I'll go like, and you just flip over as if I caught you in the wrist lock. That happens. I've seen a lot of demos like that. And it gets to the point where some people start to believe they actually have magic powers and telekinesis and ergokinesis and these mystical abilities to make other people move with their minds. And that's problematic. Now, I don't think Steven Seagal has fallen into that territory, at least not yet. And hopefully he never does. So at least his demo is still grounded in the idea of you actually have to touch people to physically manipulate them. We'll see what the future will bring. But Tony Jefferies' reaction to this, like, that's not how a real fight plays out. Now, he's been in fights, man. And before you say, well, it's just boxing. Boxing isn't a real fight. Look. If you say that, that tells me that anything you've done that resembles a real fight is less real than any boxing match. So, yeah, man. So Tony's reaction, what he would do in that situation, he would feint, low to the body, and then come up high overhand. Sure, yeah. Because, I mean, why would you run? Let's just work under the assumption Steven Seagal is a dangerous man and he can make that clothesline work. If you run in to give him a bear hug, he's going to clothesline you, okay? Let's just assume that's what happens, right? Let's assume this demo is indicative of his real abilities. So, is running in and trying to hug Seagal up high a good idea? No, don't ever telegraph what you want to do. Your first attack is probably not going to work, which is why feints are so important, which is what Mr. Jeffries is alluding to here first. Feint low, fake low, and then attack up high. Now, if he attacked up high to start with the overhand, it wouldn't be nearly as successful, right? Remember what Jack Dempsey said, the origin of the word sucker punch, which today is used largely to mean to catch somebody by surprise, but that wasn't the case back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. When Jack Dempsey used that word, he meant leading with your right hand, right? Because only a sucker is going to fall for it. You got to set this stuff up, right? Because we have to give anybody who's willing to engage with us in physical combat the benefit of the doubt that they're not an idiot and they're going to have at least a very base level of human instinct to react to a violent threat in front of them. At the very least, stick their hands up or move away from the danger or something like that. We got three really basic instincts for fighting. that we don't have to train for. Those three instincts are: one, move away from the danger so it doesn't hurt us; two, push the danger away from us if we can't move away from it; or three, if we can't push it away, we can't get away from it, to grab it and hold it close and tight so it doesn't have wiggle room to get us. All right, so those are our three base reactions, and we'll see these in street fights, for example, when two guys get mad and they push each other and they say angry words, and the shoving turns into sloppy haymakers. As soon as one of those sloppy haymakers hits, the instinct takes over, like, whoa, I don't like being hit, this kind of sucks. Let's do something else. And because, they're manly men and they've engaged in the fight and they don't want to lose face, they go to the next thing, which is grab and hold and squeeze to try to prevent that other guy from swinging at him and landing more shots. And then they generally tumble on the ground and their friends pull them apart, giving them a face-saving exit so they can go home and brag on the internet about how many street fights they've been in. And then tell guys like Mr. Jeffries, myself, and every other professional fighter, well, what you do, you train for the ring with gloves and rules, but I train for the streets, and I've been over 300 street fights, all victories by way of awesomeness. And we all know what really happened. We all know what really happened. Don't lie about it. But I love this video. It's very refreshing. Thank you, Mr. Jeffries, for making my day. Thank you for being honest, and also thank you for being respectful to martial arts across the world. And I love how he pointed out there's probably something you can learn from this. Yeah, there absolutely is. Whether we can learn from watching a piss-poor example of a bad demo and then take some life lessons away from that, or take a legitimate Aikido class where you can learn some techniques or strategies or movement patterns that perhaps you can add to your own game plan and improve upon. So, cool. That's what I got. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.